Hello, I'm Dom and I'm a startup guru. I help people go from idea to app. In this series of videos, I'm calling More Than Code. It's all about the stuff that sits in between the idea and building the thing. In this video, I will be talking about scoping. So let's kick off with what is scoping. When we look to build something, that might well be a new feature, an entire app, an iteration, or even a bug fix. We have to write a ticket in order for that work to be completed. The scope in the ticket lays out the boundary of what you're going to do, but also what you're not going to do. But ultimately, it's important to not focus on just the task or the outcome. You want to tell the story behind the build and have a single source of truth. Good scope in a well-written ticket enables you to communicate your idea and what you intend to do to all of the various departments. There are 5 sections I always focus on. Section 1, purpose. This is the why for everything you intend to build. The real, true why. Being as top level as possible helps you get buy-in at the first step. A couple of good examples of purpose is an enjoyable and effective onboarding experience that greets new users, or delivering strategy as a service to a new business owner. Section 2, vision. This is essentially what it's going to look like. But again, remain top level. You need to get buy-in on those early steps. Writing a good vision statement is tricky and it requires a lot of practice. One way you can practice is to pick 5 tech companies and write a vision statement for them, and then go and look at what their vision statement actually is and compare the two. This will help you get into the right mindset of the type of thing you need to be visionary on. Section 3, goals. This is what you want to achieve. What will you have after this build that you don't have today? It might be that you're a new product and you need 100 new users to the platform, or even your project needs to meet accessibility standards because accessible design is just good design. Now, this is a really good place to look back at your values and your principles, but also your more top-level goals. How can those bigger goals feed down to these smaller ones? And as a tip, remember SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and time-based. In terms of the time-based, it's just the time to build it. Section 4, problem. You have to write a problem statement, and this is the meat of the ticket. When you're explaining what you're doing, this is the thing you're going to lead in with. To help you write a good problem statement, you can break it down into its component parts. Who specifically is experiencing this problem? What are they trying to achieve or obtain? What barrier stands in their way? Why does that barrier exist? And how do they feel when they experience that problem? As a note, writing good problem statements is the bread and butter of a product manager. Writing good problem statements, you have to be specific. When I say, how do you feel when you encounter this problem? It's not just happy, sad. It has to be, I feel like I'm wasting time in doing X, or I feel like I'll never be able to afford Y. If you want to practice writing problem statements, then anytime that you find a moment of frustration in your day, sit down, open up the Notes app, write the problem statement out. I do this all the time, and I still do it to today because it's just good practice to get into. Section 5, hypothesis. A good hypothesis is what a working solution looks like, but not the actual solution. Stay high level because, again, you're trying to get buy-in. Your hypothesis ends up being your sort of one-line pitch to your build. To help you out with writing a good hypothesis, it should look like, if we do A, then B will happen, and therefore C will be something we can gain. That is a good starting point for writing it out, but then get into more details and try and get that down to one killer sentence. Here are some tips. If you watch my previous 2 videos on personas and user interviews, you will see how that stuff leads into tickets. It talks about what people are trying to achieve, what they're trying to obtain, what stands in their way, i.e. what's their pain points, but also what they're currently doing today to solve their problems. Another point to make is don't hide your solution in the ticket. If you're thinking, I have an idea of building a community platform, don't make the problem, we don't have a community platform. That's not what's happening here. You want to be able to write your ticket from a point of view of anticipating your users' needs. To help you write good initial scope, always have in your mind, why this, why now, and who for? Those 3 questions you need to be asking again and again and again. To reiterate, this is about consensus with your stakeholders. Everybody involved needs to be on the same page. And doing this initial scope helps the conversation to start moving. There are some traps though, and you need to look out for what are assumptions and what's speculation, and be very clear. You're going to know some things, you're going to assume some things, and you want to be able to keep those assumptions to a minimum because assumptions equals risk. And my final tip, if you want to know if you've written good scope, imagine you're given a keynote and you've built this thing, you've shipped it, and it's been a success. What story are you going to tell at that keynote? Imagine that happening, and it will help you shape what you need to focus on and what you can leave out. And that's the end of the video. I hope it was informative. I hope it was enjoyable. I would say if you're a budding product manager or somebody just looking to build an app, practice writing scope. I have my notes app on my phone, and I will sit there and write scope over and over and over again. Even if I have no intention of building something, I'll write scope for it because it's just good practice, and it gives you your voice as a product manager or as somebody who builds apps. I really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you want to follow on this journey of More Than Code. But for now, thanks for watching. Bye.